Hi everybody, it's time for another video, and it's quite different this time because we're going to demonstrate how to work with Pashminas. We've come to a large room and I've got with me my friend and colleague Angie. Hello. And we're going to demonstrate a few interventions by popular demand for this using the Pashminas, which you can see around the room. We've got lots of lovely colours, far too many for one client, but I have this many for training courses, and I just love seeing the rainbow of colours here, and we're going to be having a look at different ways of using them, as I said. So Angie, you use Pashminas in your counselling work?
Sorry, yeah, I do. I use Pashminas quite a lot. I use them for boundary work. I think it's really important, but I do work in a slightly smaller counselling room, so sometimes I use smaller blankets instead of.
Yeah, and Angie's going to show us how she does that to allow for a much smaller space. But let's get on with it. And the first one Angie did mention, which is working with boundaries. So we're just going to go straight on as if I'm the counsellor and she's the client, and tell you about using Pashminas to work with boundaries. Angie, what I would like you to do is to think about what we call your personal space. Now, let me just demonstrate that for you very quickly. Using Pashminas, this for me would be, if this was my personal space, I'm just randomly choosing them for now. What I'm saying is, this is how far you can come up before you start invading my space. Okay. Now, because we're good friends, I let you quite close. Mm-hmm. But we're going to work perhaps as if we didn't know each other quite so well, and how you might be with someone that you wanted to keep a little bit further out. So does that make sense on how we're using the Pashminas?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Would you like to choose some Pashminas, Angie? Any colours that kind of call to you, and create your personal space. Now remember, this is to protect you, to keep people out of your sacred area, if you like. See how you get on. Just invite you. Just ask me if you're not clear about anything, but off you go. Okay. Pashminas are so flexible that you can wind them together, and I've knotted these two together to see how powerful a knot can be as well. And as people are creating their personal space, that knot could be quite symbolic of something painful or significant that made them tighten their defences. We are in the area of defences really, and how strong they are. Are they too strong? Are they too weak? And the beautiful symbolism of the colour and the flexibility of the Pashminas, I think is fantastic. Just while Angie is choosing hers, to say that a lot of these I got as seconds on eBay, and certainly these plain coloured ones are very cheap. You can get for under £3 each if you dig around, and just scarves and things I chose to put into the collection. But keep your eye open if you want to work with Pashminas. You can get some bargains. All right?
Yeah, I think I'm
done. So, well done. Yeah. I'm going to invite you now to create your space, your personal space, your boundary.
Okay.
Interesting collection of colours. Do they have any meaning for you, Angie?
Yeah.
Particularly the colours?
Yeah, I guess that's what, I don't know why I was choosing them, but then I did when I thought about it. But yeah, yellow, a very sunny colour, the blue is just hearts. This is like danger, and that's like love and warmth.
Love and warmth.
Love and warmth.
Wow, so you've got, let me see if I've got this right, you've got sunny, that's a happy colour.
It is, yeah.
And love and warmth.
Yeah.
And then you've got hearts on the blue and white passion, it's a shawl really, isn't it? And that one, I don't know if people won't be able to see, but it's got little skulls on it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was, tell me a bit more about that.
A danger keep outside.
Danger
really
keep
important, but
out.
that's there.
Right.
So.
Well, just explore your space, just have a walk around it and see if it's big enough, if you feel okay. if there's any breaches in the walls.
Yeah, there is there.
Does that feel better?
Yeah, that feels better. Yeah.
First thing I'm going to do, Angie, is simply walk around, and I want you to tune into how you feel and what your body feels like as I walk around the very edge of your boundary. All I'm doing is walking, and just tune into what your body wants to do, how it's feeling.
Yeah, I'm aware my body wants to keep turning.
Just follow it. Follow whatever your body is doing. And be aware.
When you're there, I want to step forward. It's almost like I want to guard that. I've just got an urge to pull forward. I don't know why.
Interesting. Okay, now this was your love and warmth, was it?
Yeah.
So if I can come quite close. Oh, notice what happened there.
It was too quickly, too much. I wasn't expecting it.
Just notice that, as we said.
Okay.
And then this is your heart.
Yeah.
Notice your body turning. Do you feel anything in your body?
Yeah, there's a bit of a wariness. I guess I'm just on guard. I'm waiting.
How do you know there's a wariness?
Because it's here. I can feel it, and it's a feeling in my arms that I'm just getting ready to. I don't know, back off or escape. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. So can you describe the feeling? Is it a fluttering?
It's I would say that it's more like a pulling. It's just a pulley kind of.
Yeah. Just, I feel scared, I feel anxious. A good intervention to ask as a counsellor is, how do you know? How do you know you're anxious? And where people feel the anxiety in their body can be interesting. Sometimes it's in the throat or the chest. For Angie, it's in her tummy, but she knows it's there. And in your arms as well?
Yeah, my arms.
What do your arms want to do?
I guess that there's a part of them, I feel a bit helpless from down my side, so I want to put them here so they're ready to
Interesting.
push. It's interesting.
And what we would say is that you're having maybe a fight-flight response there, so perhaps the adrenaline's going inside. Just your body is usually ahead of your thoughts. Do you have any words for what you're feeling?
Almost like take care. That's what this is saying, just like take care.
Okay, well done. You're doing really well. So far, all I've done is explore walking around the edge. Now, when I came here and I walked, I hadn't transgressed, I hadn't gone beyond the boundary, but I'd come right up to it. And notice even now what your body's doing. Just follow your body.
Yeah, it's almost that. I want to follow my body to do that.
Yeah. I'm going to do now something just to experiment with the effect on you, and I'm deliberately going to shock you, because I think what happens to a lot of us is people do this.
Yeah.
So what happens to you when somebody crosses your boundary without permission?
I guess the thing that came up was that just like a sick feeling that just came all the way up there. It was just like a fear.
Yeah.
And it's you're too close. You're too
and
much.
So go with what your body is saying to do.
Yeah. No, so you're too close.
Okay. So if I move, notice what happens.
Yeah.
Thank you for your life, Angie. That was very nice of you to give it to me.
Okay.
What do you? Thank you for my life. Does that?
Yeah.
I'm deliberately being a little bit shocking there, because this is just to symbolise what I'm going to step out, because I don't feel comfortable there either. But just come back in and just, can you share any more about what it felt like to have somebody going right across your boundaries?
It just felt too much. I just felt a complete lack of control. I just felt that I wasn't in charge, and I wasn't strong enough to fight back.
I wasn't strong enough.
No.
Does this resonate with anything?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's when people sort of push too far that it's just easier for a quiet life just to step out and not fight back.
Yeah. It's a quiet life is to not fight back, but just to step back. But this symbolises what you're actually doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you think, just throwing out a few options, when things like that happen, what could we symbolically do to say, no, I don't want you to do that? Or maybe it's not clear enough, for example, you might want to put a thicker wall here.
Oh, I was just thinking that needs to be thicker. It's too thin.
Do you want to add something then?
I'm gonna. Interesting. I was going to go for the red one, but it didn't feel enough. So. There we go.
That's interesting. It's really interesting because I thought you'd put it this side.
Oh no, actually.
Just notice what you just did.
Yeah, and it's funny, when you said that, there was a part of me thought, well, I'll put it that side then. But then I think, no, it feels right this side. So I had that, do I do it because you've asked me to do it, or do I keep it this side because this is what I want?
Good call. Keep it there, but explore the feeling that your space is now smaller. Just notice that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's interesting, it feels more comfortable being smaller because I've got more protection.
Okay. Is there any other wall that needs reinforcing?
No, it's just that one.
It's just that one. So I just touched that there, I didn't mean to, that wasn't intentional. Okay. So I could walk straight across this one then, could I?
No. No.
Okay, so what happened there?
It was just like, no, why have you done that?
Okay, well, because you didn't stop me.
Okay.
Let's try one more thing, just for the sake of the demo.
Okay.
I'll go quite quickly. So one option is to reinforce the wall and make your wall smaller.
Yeah.
And that felt comfortable to you.
Yeah.
And you reflected on, it was quite tempting to change it just because all I said what I was expecting you to do, but you're standing your ground on what you felt was right to do.
Yes.
What I want you to do now is experiment with, as I come to step over, to say stop.
Okay.
That's the only word I want you to say.
Stop. Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop.
That was a bit weak, wasn't it? Can you do it a bit more strongly?
Good. Stop.
How did that feel? You got a lovely smile on your face.
I don't know why I'm smiling. Okay.
What are you feeling as you say
Nervous.
stop? You're nervous.
I'm just nervous. Are you going to really listen to me? I might say stop, but are you really going to hear me? So that's what's going on.
I'm going to say stop, but will you hear me? Will it stop you?
Yes. Yeah.
No, I don't think you mean it. I think you're too nice. I think I can stop.
No.
Notice that feeling. Notice your arms coming
Yeah.
up. Find that no.
Yeah.
Let's change stop to no.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah? Try another word.
Okay, yeah. No.
Ah, now that's better.
Okay.
Try that again.
No.
And again.
No.
How am I feeling there?
That feels better. But it's interesting, when I use my arms, it helps me say no. I don't know why.
Just for the video, let's try it on this one as well.
Yeah.
So that was a much stronger Angie.
Yeah.
It really was a different person there. So I'm going to be walking up. Okay. I actually believed you this time. Maybe.
No.
Oh, no, that's soft.
No!
Let's find no from the place where you're scared. Can you find a no from there?
Ooh. That's
What happened
interesting. Because you said find no from when I'm scared, I'm not quite sure how loud that is going to be.
Yeah. Because I wonder if that small voice is coming from here.
Possibly. It's, yeah, maybe.
So where can your loud no voice come from?
I don't know, but it feels like more I need to be angry, get in touch with an anger to say no.
Okay.
Rather than a fear, because the anger is a much more up feeling for me than a fear.
So you need to find your anger?
Yeah, so it'd be anger, and I could do that probably much better.
Is there anything you need to resource you in that?
And I think of my mother, because that will do it.
What colour is your anger?
Oh, red, steaming, flaming red.
Would you like to put a pashmina on that's red, steaming, flaming red?
Yes. Do you know what? This is not red, flaming red, but it's just more.
It's a good
It's
bright
brighter.
colour. Okay.
Yeah, so
How do you want
that.
to wear that then? How do you want to put that on to actually find your no?
I'm going to put that around where I feel my fear.
So you're putting the anger around.
The fear.
I was about to say protect your fear, but I don't know if that's the right word.
I don't know, it probably is actually. It will help, or will it protect it, or it's going to help it? It's going to help the fear say something.
All right, this is angry Angie
Right, okay,
stepping up as I'm coming.
No!
Whoa! That was great.
No!
Can you feel it?
Yes.
Can you feel that?
Yes.
Yeah. Now
Definitely.
this time, as I come across, gently push me back. Okay. Now you see, you can't do that. You're going to have to move.
Okay.
How does that feel?
Well, I'm going to move towards you.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I've observed
Right.
is that you have hardly ever moved your feet.
No,
I
I
wonder
haven't.
what that's about.
No, that's interesting, I haven't. Yeah.
Just
that's
think about
interesting.
it. I don't know what it means, but let's see what happens when you move and I move towards you. Whoa! How about the no again?
Okay. No.
And then gently push me back.
Don't want to hurt you.
You won't hurt me. That's it. How did that feel?
Yeah, that felt okay.
It's a symbol.
Yeah.
It's a symbol.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't want to push you too hard though.
No, that's all
Very
right. Just notice that. If you go
Okay.
back in the centre as I transgress you again,
Okay.
find it again.
No.
You lost a bit of volume there.
Okay.
One more time.
No.
That's it. That's the feeling, Angie.
Yeah, there.
And
Yeah.
have you got it?
Yeah, definitely.
How are you feeling about that?
That feels better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels much better.
Yeah. Well done. Angie, thank you so much. We're just sitting in Pashmina land for a few more minutes. Just to feed back on that exercise, how would you describe it? How did you feel?
It felt very real, and my emotions felt very heightened almost throughout the whole exercise.
It didn't feel like a demo to me. It felt like you were touching some really
Yeah,
real stuff.
yeah, no, definitely it didn't. And that surprised me,
Yeah.
actually.
Do you want to say a bit more about any particular bits that were a surprise?
I guess for me it was the bit about the thin line and, you know, what to do with that, because it felt too thin. So to be able to put something as a backup,
Yeah.
and then actually where I put it, because I put it inside, and then you said, oh, it surprised me, I thought you put it outside, and I thought, oh, maybe I should put it outside, because that's
Have I
my
done it
people-
wrong?
Yeah, but that's my people pleasing behaviour.
Yeah.
And then I thought, no, actually it feels right inside. So that was quite powerful.
It was very powerful. There was nothing in me that wanted you to change it. It was just sort of being an honest surprise, really. But that just shows the counsellor is always having their little journey while the client is doing the real stuff. And that was just brilliant that you were able to stay with that and to acknowledge that the smaller world felt more comfortable.
Yeah, definitely, because I feel more in control when it's smaller. But again, that whole guardedness at all times throughout that whole exercise,
Yeah.
as being on guard, was
Yeah.
interesting as well. So.
What was it like when I encouraged you to find a louder voice?
I think that was the interesting part, because when you were encouraging me to use the word stop, it didn't feel like...
It wasn't the right word, was it?
It didn't feel strong enough. So when it was no to me is a firmer word. It's much
Yeah.
more of a, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So it felt a better word
Yeah.
to use the word no. But again, interestingly enough, the no was very quiet. And when I get nervous, I laugh. And I noticed, and you picked up on that as well, the laughter that...
Well, there was a big smile on your face. It was slightly incongruent.
Probably very incongruent.
that although you were going through the exercise, it felt like it hadn't yet touched the core of you.
Yeah.
And we needed to get to your anger before you could do that, which I thought was fascinating, so helpful.
Yeah.
Do you want to say any more about finding the anger?
Only the interesting part of when you use the word fear with me, find your fear and talk from it, there was almost like a collapse in me that I thought, I can't do this from this place. It didn't feel enough. I needed something that was a lot stronger.
Yeah.
For me, anger is a much stronger emotion.
Yeah.
So when I found my anger and I could know what it looked like, because you asked me what does it look like,
Yeah.
it was much more helpful because with a visual tool, it was much easier to get in touch with that.
And as a fellow counsellor, what we're looking at is aspects of self.
Yeah.
That if we're in that fear place, whether it's either frozen or panic-stricken or hypervigilant, whatever it is unlikely to be able to put the boundaries up.
Yeah.
But to find your angry self, and of course that's a huge journey for clients, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be able to speak from there saying, I don't want this to happen, and I'm saying no, and I mean it. I think is that what it's about? I mean it.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it is. It's the saying no and meaning it, and not understanding that in order to say no, it's not just about saying no from your voice. You have to say no from an emotion.
Yeah.
And find a strong emotion that you're able to use.
And find that part of yourself that is angry about the way things have happened to you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Some people watching it might feel I was very, very interventive with you, which I was. I personally, it's just a way of working. It's a very dynamic, interactive, quite Gestalt-based kind of way of relating. How did you find that? Was it too much? Did it come on too strong?
No, because actually it just got through the how can I put this? The avoidance strategies that I could possibly have if it was just talking.
Yeah.
So the interventions that you did felt okay enough for me,
Yeah.
because we were able to explore what was going on as well. So
I felt you were a bit reluctant to actually push me,
Yeah.
and was that almost a step too far for you?
well, it's just pushing turns to violence, and I don't like
Yeah.
the violence in the anger,
Yeah.
because again it reminds me of mum. So it's a step too far to literally push too hard.
Absolutely
So
right, and I respect that
Yeah.
hugely.
Oh yeah.
But for some clients, it has been important to feel the energy in their body. We have an agreement that neither of us will ever hurt the other,
Yeah.
but just to actually feel the power of the physical movement can be effective. But you will know your client. You will know you're not going to do this on session 2, so you will have built up a relationship with the client. To be able to work with the body, we were working quite a bit with the body, we were working with the emotions, but the main things, we were working with the symbols.
Yeah.
And the symbols create a dynamic that means you don't have to find the words for it, you just find the feelings and go with what your body is telling you to do.
Yeah, and to be able to show that as well, I
Yeah.
think it's very powerful.
And I love the way you chose the Pashminas, that felt significant. So, any words to someone who's feeling, oh, that looks scary? What would you say to
I would
them?
say just have a go, because you can't really get it wrong. You really can't get it wrong as long as you go by the client and you ask the right questions and you do the right things. I think it's
Yeah.
very powerful.
And that if it gets too much, you can stop at any time. But when a client is ready for this work, I would say in working with boundaries, this is second to none.
Yeah.
Would you say that from your own experience?
1,000,000%. And again, with getting a client to find their assertive voice or anger is actually highly effective, because I don't think that they feel they ever can. So, and just to know what your boundaries are.
You said right at the beginning, Angie, that you have your little blankets.
Yeah.
Would you like to get those and just quickly explain what you do with them?
Definitely, yeah.
So Angie, you've brought your blankets. Tell us how you would use those in a smaller space.
Yeah, so my blankets are a lot smaller because
They're cute.
little teddy bears on them. But I feel that what they're more helpful is just doing boundary work in a smaller space.
Yeah.
So when I actually use them, I ask the client to treat that almost like their self-esteem. How big is your self-esteem?
Yeah.
And what do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
So they might screw it up and
Yeah.
try and stand on it, or how big is it? And then exactly the same as what you do there. But again, it's only one dimensional, it's not going to have the colours in it,
Okay.
but it's equally as effective. Even
So
just
would
the
then,
one.
if you were working with me,
Yeah.
what would you ask me to do then?
It would be, I would almost like, how do the blanket?
Yeah.
And just say to, well, if you think about how big your self-esteem is, how big your self-confidence is,
Yeah.
if you can make that into a shape,
Yeah.
and if you can do that and then place it on the floor.
And put that on the floor.
Yeah.
So in some situations, it's like this.
Yeah.
I am quite confident.
Yeah.
And I can own that.
Yeah.
And so I would put that on the floor, yeah?
That's it, yeah.
Like that.
And
then
I would invite you just to, I normally only use one to be quite honest, and I've
okay.
just got the two because they're different colours. It just
Okay. Yeah.
something different to work with. And then I would just invite you to, can you stand on your self-esteem, or can you stand in it and own it?
Got it.
And then do exactly the same.
So
as what
in
you've done
fact, you're only using one little
Just one.
blanket,
Just one.
not a whole range of pashminas.
there. Absolutely.
So that's, and would you walk round it?
I would round it, I would
Yeah.
push back, and the same as you did in the personal space, I would
Yeah.
do exactly the same thing to try and get them to say no, to push back, and
Yeah.
to actually sort of like use that, and it's been extremely effective with a lot of clients I work with.
Ages?
All the way through. Again, I've used it in teenagers, with teenagers in secondary schools. A lot of them, don't realise until they make shapes of self-confidence, and a lot of people, if you excuse me just doing that a minute, would literally screw it up, make it that big, and then try and stand on it, and then wobble.
Yeah.
And what do you notice? That you're wobbling in your own self-esteem. It's not big enough. So the minute you step towards them, they're going to wobble off.
Awesome.
So I use it pretty much like that. But a huge tool. And with adults, with all the people that I work with, again, a massive tool that just helps them find a voice. Very powerful.
Thank you, Angie. So the last thing I'll ask you to do is de-roll the pashminas as we tidy up.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope you've enjoyed that. It probably has raised as many questions as answers, but a lot of our counsellors are using these tools for helping people to find their voice, especially when they're being walked over. So as part of an ongoing therapy strategy for growing stronger, it's pretty good. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching the video, which Angie and I really enjoyed making for you. It was very colourful, wasn't it? I hope it gave you a lot of food for thought, but when I was reflecting on it, I thought it might be helpful to go over a few pointers about the video and that way of working. First of all, to emphasise that this is a tool for working with assertiveness and not anger management, with a common sense check and a safety check. This is for working with people who feel powerless and unable to be assertive, have good boundaries and healthy ways of relating. And so I just want to make that really clear, first of all. One of the other points I wanted to draw your attention to was the way Angie instinctively raised her arms from time to time during the work we were doing. It's as if she was wanting to defend herself. And in Gestalt terms, these are what we call micro movements that reveal a story. They indicate unfinished business, as if the body has stored some memories, residual gestures from a time when the client felt powerless. And it was because of this that I wanted to encourage Angie to find that strength in her body, that she was instinctively wanting to do this. And when we exaggerate the gestures, we can often find what was really going on at the time, but new energy. We can actually release blocked energy in the body. Even pushing against a wall can do that, surprisingly. And so I just wanted to explain a little bit about the Gestalt way I was working with her then, in looking at the micro movements that told a story. And that's why I wanted to encourage her to find some strength in that gesture, because this time she has got power and she is not a defenseless child any longer, but she can actually have some strength. The demo went fast because I don't want you sitting there all day. And we could have spent a whole session, if you imagine it, on the choice of pashminas. Were you interested in that? Because I was fascinated by the 4 pashmina scarves that Angie chose and what each of them meant. You'll notice in the video, just for time, I didn't particularly dwell on them, but it was fascinating that each colour had a meaning, and colour is very important in working creatively. And I was also fascinated on what made the small space safe for her, and how does that play out now in her life and in her relationships. Why did she step forward when I reached for the blue danger blanket? Why did she flinch when I came too close to the wall that symbolised love and warmth? Can you see that they would provide tremendous material for the ongoing work with the client? What was happening there? What were you feeling? What were you thinking? Have you been in that place before? Was it a familiar feeling? And working through the symbolism of that intervention can take you down many different avenues of therapeutic work with the client. There was a point when I felt that Angie hadn't moved her feet very much. I think when I look back at the video, she had moved them a bit more, but there were times when her whole body was pulling back. Did you notice that? She was leaning right back, but her feet couldn't move. And sometimes this again can be a residual attitude that goes back to a time when there was no escape and there was a fear feeling, perhaps a freeze response. And how important it is to help the client to see that this time I can move, this time I have the power to go where my body wants to take me, and to regain, to get that movement back, to re-own her power. It was leaning back was different from standing her ground. There was definitely something else going on there. I found her line, "I wasn't strong enough to fight back," very poignant, and I think that echoed down through the years. What we call a slinky, it goes back to the past up to the present, and we can be acting out old ways of being in the present that were there in the past. That's just a few of my thoughts on it for you to ponder, and I'd love to hear your reactions if you want to make any observations in the comments. At the very least, I hope you found it an interesting exercise, and I'd love to think you might go out and get a few Pashminas, even if you just try the walking round exercise. You'll find it's very powerful. So thank you again for watching, and we've got more videos in the pipeline, and so keep watching. Thank you. Bye.